Hola! I'm Cozinero Benny, and welcome to Reheated History, Food for Thought, our midweek deep dive into the why behind the what, the stories, the struggles, and the occasionally unhinged historical decisions that explain why these dishes exist in the first place. Because every comfort food apparently has lore. Now, when most people look at a map of Europe, Portugal looks tiny. It's basically a little strip of land pinned against the Atlantic by Spain, like someone forgot to finish drawing the map. But somehow in the 1400s, this tiny little kingdom became one of the most powerful empires on Earth. And today we're talking about how a nation of fishermen, farmers, and people aggressively committed to soup managed to outnavigate the entire world. Before we slice into our kale soup this Sunday, we need to talk about the age of discovery. And honestly, Portugal treated exploration the way that Silicon Valley treats AI startups. Prince Henry the Navigator basically turned the entire country into a maritime tech company. Their big innovation was the caravel, a fast, lightweight ship with triangular lantine sails that could actually sail against the wind, which sounds kind of normal now, but at the time, it was basically science fiction. For centuries, European sailors mostly hugged the coastlines because the Atlantic Ocean was viewed as a giant liquid death trap filled with storms, sea monsters, and a whole lot of nope. The caravel changed everything. Suddenly, the Portuguese could venture out deep into the Atlantic and make it home alive, which historically speaking is a huge upgrade. Armed with this new technology, Portugal blew the global map wide open. By the late 1400s, da Gama had opened the sea route to India, Cabral had landed in Brazil. Tiny Portugal suddenly controlled trade routes connecting Europe to Africa, India, South America, and eventually even Japan. Spices, silk, gold. For a brief moment, Portugal basically became the Amazon Prime of global trade. Now, domestically, this became a bit of an issue. While ships were bringing unimaginable wealth to Lisbon, the countryside was being hollowed out. Young men were constantly recruited onto ships, and many never returned. Now, meanwhile, the people left behind couldn't even afford the spices their own empire was importing. Imagine your country controlling the global cinnamon trade and you still can't season your soup. Portugal became a nation of extreme contrasts. Merchant elites lived in marble palaces filled with imported luxuries, while rural families survived on whatever they could grow from rocky, rain-soaked hillsides in regions like Minho. So ordinary people adapted, they turned inward, they mastered self-sufficiency, and that brings us to this week's recipe, caldo verde. This soup wasn't just comfort food, it was economic armor. Potatoes provided cheap calories, local kale survived the cold northern climate, a little sausage flavored the pot without requiring a whole lot of meat. No expensive imports, no luxury ingredients, just survival. It cooked quickly over a hearth, fed large families, and gave workers enough fuel to survive long days in vineyards, farms, and fishing villages while Portugal chased global wealth overseas. Which honestly makes caldo verde one of the most historically ironic foods ever. A humble peasant soup born during the rise of one of the richest empires in human history. This Sunday, we'll see if the original Atlantic superfood still holds up. I'll see you then.